English habit. Listening to the podcast before we start, let's do something rare. Let's slow down. Not because this conversation is heavy, but because what we're about to talk about, you can't hear it clearly when your mind is rushing. There are people who walk into a room and nothing changes on the surface. No loud voice, no dramatic entrance, no trying. And yet, the room feels different. People sit up straighter, the noise drops, something settles. That's not confidence, that's not dominance, that's presence.
Yeah, and the strange part is, they didn't learn that presence in one moment. They didn't wake up one day and decide to be high value. They built it quietly, piece by piece, through how they dress, how they move, how they choose their direction, and most importantly, how they treat themselves when nobody is watching. It's brilliant.
This conversation isn't about becoming louder. It's not about being alpha. It's not about performing confidence for other people. It's about building something solid enough that you don't need to perform anymore.
In this series, we talked about 3 pillars: presentation, mission, and core, not as self-improvement theory, but as lived experience. The kind you feel on a random Tuesday, in silence, in small moments.
So if you're listening to this while walking, slow your pace a bit. If you're sitting, relax your shoulders. If you're lying down, just breathe. This isn't something to consume, it's something to sit with. Let's begin.
You know, when people hear the word aura, many of them imagine something mystical, something spiritual, or something you were simply born with. They think it is luck or genetics or a gift that only a few people have. For a long time, I thought the same way. I believed that some people just walk into a room and magically command attention, while others stay invisible no matter how hard they try. But the older I get, the more I realize that aura is not magic at all. It is built slowly, quietly, and very intentionally.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot. When I was younger, I confused aura with noise. I thought the loudest person in the room was the strongest one, the person who talked the most, joked the most, or dominated every conversation. But now when I look back, I realize something important. Those people were often trying to prove something, and real aura never needs to prove itself.
Exactly. Real aura doesn't rush to speak. It doesn't interrupt. It doesn't fight for attention. It simply exists. And what's interesting is that people feel it before they can explain it. Have you ever been in a room where someone walks in and suddenly the energy changes? Nobody says anything, no announcement is made, but conversations slow down. People look up. There is a quiet awareness in the air.
That moment is powerful because it shows us that aura is felt, not heard. And most people underestimate how sensitive humans are to energy. We feel when someone is grounded. We feel when someone is lost. We feel when someone is desperate. And we also feel when someone is deeply comfortable with themselves.
I want to slow down here for a second because this part matters. Aura is not about being perfect. It's not about being rich, famous, or admired by everyone. Aura is about alignment. It's about how your inner world, your actions, and your presence all move in the same direction.
And when they don't align, people sense it immediately. You can dress well, speak confidently, and smile at the right moments. But if something inside you feels off, that tension leaks out. People might not know why they feel uncomfortable around you, but they feel it.
I learned this the hard way. There was a period in my life where I tried very hard to look confident. I dressed better, I spoke louder, I tried to appear relaxed. But inside, I was constantly comparing myself to others. I needed approval, I needed reassurance. And no matter how polished I looked on the outside, my energy felt unstable.
That's such an important point. You can't fake inner stability for long. Eventually, your tone, your body language, and even your silence will expose what's happening inside you.
So maybe the first reflective question for anyone listening is this. When you walk into a room, what are you carrying with you emotionally? Not what you want people to see, but what you actually feel inside.
Because aura starts there, Not with clothes, not with words, but with emotional weight. Are you calm or are you tense? Are you present or are you distracted? Are you at peace with yourself or are you silently fighting something?
And here's the part that gives people hope. Aura is not fixed. You can change it, but not by copying others, not by chasing trends, and definitely not by trying to dominate rooms. You change your aura by changing how you live when nobody is watching.
That reminds me of a story. I once met a man who barely spoke during a group conversation. He didn't interrupt, he didn't tell jokes, he didn't try to impress anyone. But whenever he did speak, the room became quiet. People listened carefully. Later, I realized why. He was deeply comfortable with silence. He wasn't afraid of it, and that alone made him powerful.
Silence is such an underrated part of aura. Most people rush to fill it because silence forces us to sit with ourselves. But when someone is at ease in silence, it signals confidence and self-trust.
And self-trust is contagious. When you trust yourself, others feel safe trusting you too.
So, in this series, we're not going to talk about quick tricks. We're not going to talk about fake confidence or manipulation. We're going to talk about building something real, something solid, something that doesn't disappear the moment life gets uncomfortable.
We'll break this down into parts because aura is layered. It has an outer layer, which is what people see first. It has a direction, which gives your energy momentum. And it has a core, which most people avoid because it requires honesty.
And honesty is uncomfortable. It forces you to ask questions like, why do I want attention? Why do I feel invisible sometimes? Why do I feel the need to be liked? These questions don't have easy answers, but they lead to real change.
I also want to say this. If you're listening and thinking, I don't feel like I have any aura at all, that's okay. Many of the strongest people you'll ever meet once felt completely invisible. Aura often grows in silence, in isolation, and in moments where nobody is clapping for you.
That's true. Aura is often built during seasons of discomfort, when you stop performing, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop chasing validation and start listening to your own voice.
So as we begin this journey, I want to invite the listener to slow down. Don't rush to apply everything at once. Just observe. Observe how you walk, how you sit, how you listen, how you react when nobody is paying attention to you.
Because aura is not something you turn on, it's something you become.
And in the next part, we'll talk about the first visible layer of aura, the one people notice before you say a single word. Not in a superficial way, but in a grounded, respectful, and intentional way.
So take a breath, let this sink in, and remember, real presence is quiet, steady, and deeply human. Before we go deeper, I want to remind everyone listening of something important. Presentation is not about pretending to be someone else. It's not about acting rich, powerful, or untouchable. Presentation is simply the first layer of your energy. It's the message your body sends before your mouth ever opens.
That's such an important distinction. A lot of people hear the word presentation and immediately think of fashion, money, or trends. But presentation is really about clarity. It answers one quiet question in other people's minds. Is this person comfortable with themselves?
Exactly. And humans are incredibly fast at reading that. In just a few seconds, people notice how you stand, how you walk, how you look around the room. They sense whether you are tense or relaxed, rushed or grounded, present or distracted.
I remember a time when I didn't understand this at all. I used to walk fast everywhere, shoulders tight, eyes down, mind racing. I thought I was being productive. I thought speed meant purpose. But what I was really projecting was anxiety.
I've been there too. And the hard truth is that people don't respond to what you intend to project. They respond to what you actually embody. Your nervous system speaks louder than your words.
That realization changed how I moved through the world. I started slowing down on purpose. Not dramatically, not in a fake way, just enough to let my body relax. And something interesting happened. People started responding to me differently.
Let me guess. More eye contact, more respect, more space in conversations.
Exactly, and it had nothing to do with confidence lines or clever words. It was purely physical. My body stopped signaling fear.
This is where posture comes in. Posture is not about standing like a soldier, it's about alignment. Head balanced, shoulders relaxed, chest open but not forced. When your posture is natural and upright, your breathing changes. And when your breathing changes, your emotional state follows.
That's something people underestimate. Posture doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you feel inside your own body. A collapsed posture tells your nervous system that you're unsafe. An open posture tells it that you're okay.
Here's a small real-life example. I once challenged myself to sit differently during conversations. Instead of leaning away or crossing my arms, I stayed open, feet grounded, hands relaxed, and I listened.
And what happened?
People talked more. They shared deeper things, not because I said anything special, but because my body language told them I was present and not judging.
That brings us to something subtle but powerful: facial expression. Many people walk around with tension in their face without realizing it. Tight jaw, furrowed brows, forced smiles.
Yes, and forced expressions create confusion. A fake smile doesn't make people feel safe. Calm neutrality does.
I used to think I had to look friendly all the time, smile constantly, react quickly. But what I learned is that calm faces invite curiosity. They create space.
There's strength in not reacting instantly. When your face stays relaxed, people project meaning onto you. They wonder what you're thinking, and that mystery increases presence.
Eye contact plays a role here too. Not staring, not avoiding, just steady, relaxed eye contact that says, I'm here with you.
Eye contact used to make me uncomfortable. I felt exposed. But then I realized something. The discomfort wasn't about the other person. It was about my relationship with myself.
That's deep. When you're at peace with yourself, eye contact feels natural. When you're hiding something internally, it feels threatening.
So maybe a reflective question for the listener is this. When you avoid eye contact, what are you actually avoiding?
Let's talk about clothing for a moment, because this is often misunderstood. Clothes don't give you value, but they do communicate self-respect.
Right. Clean clothes, proper fit, simple choices. These things don't scream for attention. They quietly say, I care.
I once met someone who wore very simple outfits, no brands, no trends, but everything fit well, everything was clean, and the way he wore those clothes made him look confident.
Because confidence isn't in the clothes, it's in how you inhabit them.
Exactly. When your clothes feel right on your body, you stop adjusting them, you stop fidgeting, you move naturally.
Short silence. Grooming is another quiet signal. Clean nails, clean hair, a face that looks cared for. These details tell people you respect yourself enough to maintain your space.
And self-respect is contagious. When people feel that you respect yourself, they instinctively treat you with more respect.
Let's zoom out for a moment. Presentation is not about perfection. It's about reducing noise. When your appearance and body language are calm and intentional, people can focus on your energy instead of your insecurity.
That's a great way to put it. Poor presentation creates distraction. Good presentation creates clarity.
Here's a short story. I once attended a small gathering where one person barely spoke. They weren't flashy, they weren't dominant, but their posture was relaxed, their movements were slow, their face was calm, and people naturally gravitated toward them.
Because their presence felt safe.
Yes, and safety is attractive. Not excitement, not drama, safety.
That's something many people don't expect. They think attraction comes from intensity, but lasting attraction comes from calm confidence.
So, as we close this part, I want to offer another reflective question. If someone observed your body language for one full day, what story would it tell about your inner world?
And remember, presentation is not judgment, it's feedback. Your body is giving you information about your inner state.
In the next part, we'll move beyond the surface. We'll talk about mission, direction, purpose, the invisible engine behind strong presence.
Because once your outer energy is calm and clear, your direction becomes impossible to ignore.
Now that we've talked about presentation, I want to shift the conversation inward, but not all the way to the core yet. This part is about mission, direction, the quiet force that gives your presence weight over time.
Mission is interesting because you can't see it directly, but you can feel it almost immediately. When someone has direction, their energy feels focused. When they don't, their energy feels scattered.
I think many people underestimate how attractive direction really is. They believe attraction comes from looks, status, or confidence tricks. But direction creates something deeper. It creates gravity. People lean toward those who know where they're going.
And the funny thing is, you don't need to be successful yet. You don't need money or recognition. You just need clarity. Even rough clarity is better than none.
I remember a period in my life where I had no direction at all. I woke up late, scrolled endlessly, reacted to whatever came my way. On the surface, I looked relaxed, but inside, I felt empty, and people felt that emptiness too.
That kind of drifting creates a certain energy. It's not loud, but it's weak. People don't trust it because there's nothing stable to attach to.
Exactly. Then there was a shift. Nothing dramatic, no big success. I simply decided what mattered to me and started organizing my days around that.
And your energy changed.
Completely. I spoke slower, I explained myself less. I didn't need to convince anyone because I was convincing myself every day through action.
Short silence. That's such an important lesson. Mission isn't declared, it's demonstrated.
Yes, and that's why vague goals are dangerous. Saying, I want to be successful, doesn't anchor you. It doesn't shape your behavior.
Direction needs definition, even a simple one. Something like, I want to master this skill, or I want to build a disciplined life.
When you define your mission, your time changes. You become more selective. You stop wasting energy on things that don't move you forward.
Emotional pause. Let me share a small story. I once met someone who worked a very ordinary job, nothing impressive on paper, but he trained every morning before work, studied at night, and rested intentionally. When he spoke, there was a calm certainty in his voice.
Because his life had structure.
Exactly. And structure creates confidence, not ego, confidence.
People often confuse mission with ambition. Ambition wants attention. Mission doesn't care if anyone is watching.
That's such a powerful distinction. Ambition is loud. Mission is quiet. Short silence. Mission also changes how you move through rooms. You don't scan for approval. You don't chase conversations. You're already occupied internally.
And that inner occupation makes you less reactive. You don't jump at every comment. You don't take things personally as much.
Because your self-worth is tied to your direction, not to opinions. Emotional pause. Here's a reflective question for the listener. If someone followed you for a week, could they tell what you're building?
That question can be uncomfortable, but it's honest.
Mission also creates consistency, and consistency is one of the strongest signals of presence.
People trust what feels stable. If your energy changes every day, people feel unsure around you.
Stability doesn't mean emotionless. It means predictable values. Short silence. There was a time when my energy was all over the place. One day motivated, the next day lost. I didn't realize how confusing that was for people around me.
And for yourself, too.
Yes, inconsistency erodes self-trust, and without self-trust, aura collapses.
Emotional pause. Mission also affects how you rest. When you have direction, rest feels intentional, not guilty.
That's so true. You're not escaping life, you're recovering for it.
And people can feel that difference. One feels heavy, the other feels grounded.
Short silence. Let's talk about follow-through for a moment. Keeping your word to yourself is one of the fastest ways to build internal power.
Every time you do what you said you would do, even in small ways, your presence becomes stronger.
And every time you don't, something weakens. Emotional pause.
Mission doesn't require perfection, it requires honesty.
Honesty about what you want, about what you're willing to sacrifice, about what you're no longer willing to tolerate.
That clarity simplifies life. Short silence. As we close this part, I want to leave the listener with one more reflective question. What would change in your energy if you truly committed to one clear direction for the next year?
You don't need the full plan, just the direction.
In the next part, we'll go even deeper. We'll talk about the core, the part of aura that can't be seen, copied, or faked.
Because without a strong core, even the strongest mission eventually collapses. Now we're entering the part that most people avoid, not because it's complicated, but because it's uncomfortable. This is the core, the place where real aura is either built or quietly destroyed.
Yeah, everything we talked about before this can be adjusted from the outside. Presentation can be improved, mission can be clarified, but the core requires honesty. And honesty asks you to look at yourself without filters.
The core is who you are when nobody is watching, not when you're performing, not when you're trying to impress. Just you, alone with your thoughts, your habits, and your promises to yourself.
And people feel that version of you, even if they never meet it directly. Your inner relationship with yourself leaks into your posture, your voice, your patience, and your silence.
Let's start with self-respect, because this is the foundation. Self-respect is quiet power. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't threaten. It simply exists.
Self-respect is not arrogance. It's not ego. It's the ability to say no without guilt and yes without resentment.
I used to think self-respect meant confidence, but now I see it differently. Self-respect is consistency with yourself. It's doing what you said you would do, even when it's inconvenient.
Every broken promise to yourself weakens your presence a little bit, and every kept promise strengthens it.
I remember a time when I constantly ignored my own boundaries. I stayed in conversations I didn't respect. I agreed to things I didn't want. On the outside, I looked polite. On the inside, I felt small.
And not feeling shows up energetically. People might not know why, but they sense when someone doesn't honor themselves.
Here's a reflective question for the listener. What is one promise you keep breaking to yourself?
That question can be uncomfortable, but it's powerful, because awareness is the first step to rebuilding self-respect.
Now, let's talk about healing. This part is often skipped, especially by people who focus on success and discipline.
Yeah, many people try to build a strong aura on top of unresolved pain, and no matter how disciplined or stylish they become, something still feels off.
Unhealed bitterness leaks. It shows up as impatience, defensiveness, sarcasm, or emotional distance.
I've seen this so many times. Someone looks confident, even successful, but being around them feels heavy. That heaviness usually comes from unresolved inner conflict.
Healing doesn't mean becoming soft or weak. It means becoming clean internally, less reactive, less triggered.
And inner cleanliness creates magnetic calm.
For me, healing started when I stopped blaming and started reflecting, journaling, sitting with uncomfortable emotions, asking myself hard questions.
And forgiving. Forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself for past decisions.
Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It removes the emotional charge from it.
Here's another reflective question. What emotional weight are you still carrying that no longer serves who you're becoming?
When you release that weight, your presence changes naturally. You don't have to force calm. It appears on its own.
Now let's talk about solitude, because this is one of the most misunderstood aspects of strong aura.
Many people are afraid of being alone, not because they dislike silence, but because silence removes distraction.
When you're alone, you meet yourself, your thoughts, your doubts, your unfinished emotions.
I used to fill every moment with noise, music, videos, messages, anything to avoid sitting quietly.
And what changed?
I realized that the people with the strongest presence were comfortable alone. They didn't need constant stimulation. They enjoyed their own company.
That comfort creates independence,
And independence removes neediness from your energy.
When you enjoy solitude, you stop chasing people emotionally. You choose connections instead of needing them.
And that choice changes everything. People feel when they are wanted, not needed.
Solitude is where you hear your real voice, not the voice shaped by trends, opinions, or expectations.
That's where your personal code begins to form.
A personal code is a small set of rules you live by, no matter what. Not for others, for yourself.
Simple rules, like telling the truth, keeping your word, avoiding gossip, improving a little bit every day.
When you live by a code, decisions become easier. You don't negotiate with your values.
And people feel that integrity. Even if they don't agree with you, they respect you.
Emotional pause. Let me share a short story. I once met someone who spoke very little about their values, but when situations became uncomfortable, they stayed consistent.
Consistency reveals character.
Exactly. And character is the deepest layer of aura.
Here's a reflective question to sit with. Who are you when no one is watching? And are you proud of that person?
If the answer is unclear, that's okay. Clarity comes through practice, not judgment.
The core is not built in a day. It's built through daily honesty.
Emotional pause. In the final part, we'll bring everything together: presentation, mission, core, and we'll talk about how to integrate these pillars into everyday life without forcing anything.
Because real aura is not something you perform. It's something you live.
We're going to end this the same way real presence is built. Quietly. No big summary, no dramatic lesson, just a moment of honesty. Most people spend their lives trying to be seen, trying to be chosen, trying to be validated. But the people with the strongest aura, they stopped asking for permission to exist as themselves.
They didn't become perfect. They became aligned. Aligned with how they present themselves, aligned with where they're going, aligned with who they are when nobody is clapping. That alignment creates weight, and weight creates gravity.
If you remember only one thing from this entire series, let it be this. Your aura is not something you turn on. It's something you stop leaking. You stop leaking energy through over-explaining, through chasing, through betraying your own standards. And what remains is quiet power.
Tonight, or tomorrow, ask yourself one simple question. What kind of energy do I leave behind when I exit a room? Not what people think of you, but what they feel after you're gone. That answer tells you exactly where to start.
And if you want something practical, something slow, grounded, and real, we've created a free PDF to go with this series. No hype, no motivation quotes, just daily practices to help you build presence, self-respect, and calm authority over 30 days.
You can download it for free. The link is in the description. Take it slow, apply it quietly, and let your presence speak for you.